All right, so we shall continue where we ended last time. We started looking at functions. I introduced functions and formulas. I talked about what functions and formulas are and how you can use them in Microsoft Excel. And I also started talking about the sum function. We actually did some calculations using the sum function and also the product function. The product function is a function that you use when you want to multiply, and the sum function is a function that you use when you want to add. Okay, so we are going to proceed. Today we are going to look at a few more functions. Okay, so the next function we're going to look at is the average function. So basically the average function helps us calculate the average of the cells in the argument. Okay, so if you want to find the average, maybe the average score for the student, maybe the average attendance for the employees, the average performance maybe of your business, maybe of your sales, you can use the average function to find that. Okay, so we're going to do some of these functions and you'll be able to see how to use them. So I'm just going to run through them for now so that you understand how they work even as we start using them. The next one is the mean function. The mean function helps you to find the minimum value. Okay, in terms of cells, this could be your lowest cells. In terms of temperature, this could be the lowest temperature. In terms of scores, like at school, this could be the lowest student, like the student who got the lowest marks. If you want to find those things, you can use the mean to find the lowest or the minimum. Okay, then we have the maximum. Maximum is basically the opposite of minimum. Maximum gives us the maximum value. Okay, in terms of scores, this could be the highest student. In terms of sales, this could be the highest sale that you had maybe in a day or in a month. In terms of temperature, this could be the highest temperature. So that is how you use what? Max. Are you following? I forgot to ask if you're all able to see my screen. Are you able to see my screen? All right, great. All right, great. So basically this is how you use max. So we are going to move on and look at count. Okay, so basically the count function, it finds the number of cells that contain a numerical value within a range of cells. So you're probably going to have cells with content maybe from A1 to A20. So you want to find out how many of those cells have a numerical value. You're going to use the function called count to do that. Okay, so we shall proceed. The other thing is about using a few handle. I already talked about a few handle. I mentioned that you can actually autofill the function and then it will be applied to the rest of the the calculations that you want to do. So if you want to use a function to find the minimum, you won't have to write the function in every cell. For instance, here we have content from A3 to E10. Okay, and so maybe you want your answers to come in E here. Okay, so you don't have to go on the first one, you calculate. When you're done, you go to the second one, you write the same function, you calculate in order for you to find maybe the minimum amongst these. No, you can just put the range of cells when you do for the first one, then you drag it down, then you're going to get all the marks for what? For the what? For the scores. The same for sum. If you want to add all these values which are here and you want your answer to be in E, you don't have to do it to write the functions for each of these entries. No, you're just going to write the function in the for the first one, okay, and then for the rest you're going to do what? To use a fill handle. Remember last time I mentioned that when you bring your cursor here after you've written a function, it becomes bold and dark, and it becomes dark and it's a plus sign. Then you can drag it down. You can hold it and drag it down, and then that by doing that, then you are autofilling the rest of the cells. That's how you use a fill handle. Okay. The fill handle also helps you to maybe autofill the numbers. If maybe you want all the spaces to have maybe the same dates, you can do the autofill and you're going to have the same dates everywhere. If you want the same name, you can do the autofill, and you will have the same name everywhere. So that is how you use the autofill. Okay. So this is basically what I have been talking about. I'm just gonna move on and see what else I can talk about before we do the practice. Okay. So this is basically using formulas to come up with with the answers. And these are some of the formulas that I've been talking about. I've talked about the count blank. Count blank helps you to find in your range of cells. It helps you to find the cells which are blank. Then sum for word. This one is a sum with a condition. So meaning if it's a sum for condition, it becomes what? Sum if. Okay. Sum if is a function whereby you will only add certain values if the condition is satisfied. Okay, that is how you use sum if. And then there's also count for. That count for also gives what? A condition, and thus it becomes a what? A conditional. It becomes an if. It becomes a count if because it has a condition. An if statement, it is a conditional statement. Okay, and it will only be satisfied when that condition is satisfied. We are going to understand this when we look at the if function. Okay, but basically if has to do with condition. So when they give you sum and they give you a condition, then you will know that it's sum if. Sum if, count blank, count, sum if, and also count if. These are functions which are embedded in what? In Microsoft Excel. You don't have to worry about the syntax. When you just find count, the syntax will be available for you and you will know how to use it. Because Excel gives clues as you work with it. It gives you ideas of what you want to do and what you should put there. Okay? It basically gives you clues. It gives you instructions. So as long as you have an idea of what you want to do, you will be able to do it eventually. Okay? So now I'm going to open Microsoft Excel so that we can use some of these functions that I have talked about. Are we okay so far? Can we move? Yes, we can move. All right, so let me just talk about this before we move. Calculate with function complete table 1 and also complete number 2. Okay, so basically when you choose a function that you want to work with, for instance, in the example that's here, the function that they're working with is max. Okay, notice what Microsoft Excel does. When you choose max and then the function argument pops up, it's going to give you a range. If you have arranged your data properly, using functions should be easy. Because for instance, these are contents in A. These are the contents in A. If you want to find the maximum value amongst them, then if you decide that your answer is going to be in A6, Microsoft Excel is going to give you a range in advance. It's going to know that everything that's up there, that's what you want to use to find the maximum. So you want to find the maximum between not between. Which way do you use in English? If in this case where the values are a lot, among. Yeah. So amongst these, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We have 5 data entries here. Okay. So Excel is going to understand if you decide that your answer is going to be on A6. Excel is going to understand that, okay, here we are finding the maximum among them. Okay. But if you put your answer here, Excel will not understand, so they will not give you this range. You will have to write the range on your own. But it's so easy to come up with a range. Okay. For instance, we know that we want to find the maximum for these values. Then our range of cells is going to be A1 to A5. Okay, because this is where what we want to compare is. We want to compare 30, we want to compare 56, 23, 12, and 70. So this is our range of cells. Okay, so basically that is how you come up with a range. And a range has been given here. You just have to press OK. When you press OK, you will get the answer. In fact, Excel gives you the answer in advance before you click OK. So when you enter the correct range of cells here, Excel is going to give you formula results here, and you will be able to see the results even before you press OK. So this is how you use functions. Now I'm going to stop sharing this presentation slide. I'm going to share Microsoft Excel so that we can do some practicals. Can do some illustrations as you follow through. I hope people are following through. Okay. Let me know when you're able to see this. Able to see my screen? All right, great. So we shall proceed. We are going to use the same data set that I entered last time because we are familiar with it. If I enter something else, it's going to become alien. So I'm going to use the same data. I'm just going to clean it a little bit. Here we were subtracting. So I'm just going to remove this. Yeah, I'm just going to remove it. Okay. All right, so we did find the total. We used the sum function here. If you want to see the function that was used in a certain cell, you just click the cell and you will be able to, and you check the formula bar, you will be able to see the function which was used. Okay. I'm also going to remove the answer for product. Okay. All right. So now we are going to start with the maximum. Okay. Since we have the total marks here, we need to find the student who got the highest mark. So we are going to use the max, the function called max, to find the student who got the highest mark. Okay. So in order for us to use max, the results are going to be in E7. I hope we understand the concept of naming cells. because it's very important for us as we use function. So our answer is going to be in E7. We are going to find the maximum number amongst these numbers. Okay. So our answer will be in E7. But let me just write max here so that we know. Okay. So this max is referring to the answer, which is going to be in what? E7. Okay. So in order for us to use the max function, we are going to go on formulas. When we go on formulas, we are going to go under insert. When we go under insert, we are going to look for the function here called max. If it's not here on the most recently used, you can search for it here. I showed you last time how you can search for a function that you want to use. Since on mine it's there, I'm just gonna click OK. Okay. When I click OK, Excel gives me a range of cells, and my range is what? It's E3 to what? To E6. So this is my range of cells. These are the cells that I want to use to find what? The maximum value. These are the cells that I'm comparing in order to find what? The maximum value. Okay? That is basically what a range of cells mean. Okay? So if you want to type a range manually, you should know how the concept of how the range, the cell range works. Okay, so basically it's from E3 to E6. Okay, so I'm just gonna click OK, and we have our answer. Okay, so our maximum value is what? What is our maximum value? What is our maximum value? Anyone? Okay. I don't know if we can see or would rather not say, but the answer is 95. Yes, thank you very much. The answer is 95. Even when you check on the totals, you will be able to see that the highest mark is with who? Judy. Judy got, in math, she got 40, and in English, she got 55. And so Judy got the highest mark, and that is where the maximum is. Alright, so now we are going to get the student who got the lowest mark. So I'm just going to type mean in here. Okay. So I'll type mean, and then our answer is going to be in E8. Okay. Our answer is going to be in E8. Alright. So in order for us to use mean, the steps are basically the same. We go to the formulas, and then we go to insert function, and then we look for mean. If mean is not here, we search for it. So I'm just going to type mean, and I'm going to click on go. Okay. And there is mean, and it's already selected. So I'm just going to click OK. Okay. When I click OK, notice what Microsoft Excel does. It excludes all the other values which are on top. It only gives me this cell as my range. But that is not the range of the cells that I'm using, right? Our range of cells still remains the same. We are using the total to find the max, the mean, and also the average mark for the students. So our range of cells is still this one here, from E3 to E6. Okay, that is our range of cells. Okay, so since we've established with what our range of cells is, we are going to click OK. When we click OK, we are going to have the marks for the lowest student, and the lowest student got 35 marks. Okay, and who is this lowest student who got 35? Who got 35? Great. So Peter got 35. So that is the minimum value that we have in this data set. Okay. So I'll keep asking these questions even if you don't want to answer, because I want to make sure every now and then that people are here, people are getting me. All right. So now we are going to do average. I think now you get the idea. Are there some confusions so far on the functions that we have done? Is it clear? Do you now know how to use functions in Excel? Any problems, any queries, any questions? Nothing? All right, great. So we are going to move on. Yes, please. Okay, great. So we are going to do average. The next one we are going to do is average. Okay? So I'm just gonna I'm highlighting these because I want us to take note of them even as we move. Okay? The other thing I'll do is I'll add an empty row here so that there can be space. All right, great. So for average, basically the idea is the same. So I've just written average here so that it can tell us that the answer which is going to be here is going to be the average mark for these test results. Okay? The average mark is basically, the average mark is the mean. Okay? The mean. Okay? That is the average mark. Not the mean for minimum, but the mean for mean. I don't know how I can say this, but do you understand? Yes, it's M-E-A-N. Great. Yeah. Spelling here has helped. Okay. So we are going to find the average mark. In order for us to find the average mark, we go back to formulas, function library, and then we look for average. And average is here, so I'm just gonna click on it. Okay, then I'm gonna click OK. Okay. All right. So I have we've selected average, and they've given us a range of cells. They've given us E8 and E9. But is that our range of cells? Any ideas? If this is not our range of cells, then which one is?
from E3 to E6.
Great. So our range of cells is still the same because we are using the total marks to get the maximum, the minimum, and the average. So our range of cells is still this one. Okay. You can either manually write it here or you can just select it like this. Excel is going to understand that you are selecting your range. And when you select it, you notice that the range is automatically added here. Our range is E3 to E6. Okay? Rab, our range is E3 to E6. So since we have added our range of cells, I'm just going to click OK. Okay? And we have our average mark. The average mark is 65 based on these marks. So you know how mean does, right? It's going to add everything and it's going to divide by the what? The total number of these what? Of these entries. So basically that is what it has done. Because in case some might be asking, but why is it 65? Because there's no 65 on our total marks. So the how average is calculated is how come we end up with a 65 even if it's not here. Okay? Any questions?
Sorry, as for me, this is when I'm joining the lesson, a little bit lost.
Oh, okay. We are looking at functions. We've looked at the maximum, the minimum, and we are now looking at average. I hope you'll be able to catch up. But I'm recording a video, I'm going to share it, then you'll be able to follow through where you still have questions. But I'm sure you'll be able to catch up.
All right.
Great. Okay. So we are going to proceed. Okay. The other function we can look at before we start looking at the if function is maybe count. Huh? Let's look at count. We talked about count, so maybe we should look at it also. Count, we mentioned that it counts all the cells with what? With numerical what? Values in your cell what? In your cell range. Okay. So I'm just gonna click go. Then count is here. Okay, remember I talked about count if. Count if, this is where you add the condition. There's count A, count D counter, you know, all these, but we are just going to look at count. Under count if you add a condition. That's the difference. I'm gonna click OK. Okay. Oh no, I didn't choose the cell where I want our answer to go, and our answer is supposed to be in E, not in D. So I'm just gonna type count in D. Oh, count. Like that. Then I'm going to make E11 active because that's where I want our answer to be. E11. Okay. Then I'm gonna insert and function. I'm gonna go to formulas and then I'm going to click on insert function. You know, the drill is the same. Then count is here. We don't have to search for it anymore since we found it the first time. So it's already highlighted, it's in blue, meaning it's selected. So I'm just going to click OK. When I click OK, it's going to give me function arguments. For those who are following through, you're able to see the function arguments. I don't know why Microsoft Excel does not bring the function arguments when I'm recording and when I'm also sharing the screen. Are you able to see the function arguments? Maybe it's just my device. Can you see the function arguments on your end?
it.
You're not able to see them.
Expanding the same column.
Okay.
It's not going to come.
Expanding the what? Oh, maybe it's supposed to be the same column.
The row.
The row. Oh, you mean here in E, the cell?
Yeah, expanding the row, yes. Maybe it's a bigger number.
The cell which is in 11, which is 11.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I understand what you mean. Okay. But what I mean is anyone following through? Like using their computer?
Or maybe we did not select the range.
No, what I mean is when you click on a function, if you select a function, there's another stage that comes. You know, for you guys, you're only able to see what's on the formula bar here. Agreed? Here, you're able to see what's on the formula bar, right? And you're also able to see what's in this cell where the answer will go. You're also able to see it. But there's something here. Are you able to see my cursor? Are you able to see my cursor? No? Okay. From from H to P, going downwards here where it's blank. Even when I bring my cursor here, you can't see it. I don't know why. Okay, but if I take it, I move it this side, you're able to see it. You notice? Even when I move it here, you're able to see it. But here in between, you are unable to see it because there's a function argument here. Okay? Where you enter your function arguments. Where I'm entering this range that you're able to see here. When I select it, it goes there and you're able to see it on the formula bar. I'm going to get a screenshot. I'm going to send it in the group. Then you understand what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, that is our cell range, and we want to find all the cells which have which have numbers basically. And we know that it's going to be all of them. But sometimes you can be working with a lot of data, and you might not really know which cells have numbers and which ones have strings. Okay? So I'm just gonna click OK, and count retains the number of cells which has numerical content inside. So the answer is 4 here because we have 1, 2, 3, 4. All of these, they have numbers. Okay, that is how you use count. Okay. All right, we shall proceed. Are we clear now? Can we move on? Can we move on to something that's what's the time? 42. We still have minutes. We can have an introduction to if functions. Then we can finish them next time when we meet, and then we can also look at something else after we finish next time. So we are going to start looking at if function. Okay, I'm not going to ask what an if function is because I talked about it when I was talking about count if, sum if. So an if function, it's a logical function basically. It's a logical function and it's going to return the answer that it's going to return is based on the condition that you give it. Okay? For instance, you know how conditions work in English? If it rains, I will not go to the market. But if it does not rain, I will go, right? So you have going to the market, okay? And then you have two conditions. Your going to the market is dependent on whether it rains or it does not rain, okay? So basically that is how the if function works. You're going to have this you're going to have this you're going to have this situation, and then the results thereof is dependent on the what? On the conditions, that whether the condition is satisfied or whether the condition is not satisfied. So if the condition is satisfied, you're going to tell Microsoft Excel that if this condition is satisfied, give me this answer. If this condition is not satisfied, give me this answer. Okay? So basically that is how you use if functions. Okay? Is that clear? Okay. If it's not, it will be clear as we move on. So I'm just gonna, we are going to do the first if function. Okay. Let's say we want to, let's create a criteria for these students, a pass mark. Okay. Let's create a pass mark so much that any student who got above 50, it should give us pass. And for each student who got below 50, it should give us fail. Are you following?
Yes.
Great. So that is our condition. That is our criteria. For every student who got above 50, it's going to return pass. And for every student who got below 50, it's going to return fail. So let's see how we can put this in an if function so that we see how it works. So we are going to go to formulas. We are going to click, before we do that, I want our answer to be in, I want our answers to be here. So we are going to add another column title here. It's going to be called grade. Not grade. It's going to be called comment. Like that. It's going to be called comment, okay? And we are going to start from here, okay? So we are going to go to the formulas, then we are going to click on insert function, and then we are going to find the if function. If it's here, okay? So I'm just gonna click on it, select it, and then I'm going to click OK. Okay. I'm going to click OK. I've clicked OK, and now I'm thinking how this is going to work because you can't see the function arguments. Let's see. Okay, I just want to capture the function argument so that as I'm explaining, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. For those who are not following, if you were following with your gadgets, this would have been easier because I would be sure that you are able to see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to send a picture in the group. Okay, great. Please check the group for those who are not following. You're able to see it? What? Yeah, function arguments, we have logical test, value if true, and also value if false. All right. I think we can proceed now. So after we have selected the if, we now have logical function arguments. Okay. So if the logical test is basically our situation. In other words, that's the easiest way I can put it. Our situation. So in this case, we have students who wrote a test. So we want to say that for this particular student, if they got above 50, okay, it's whether they got above 50 or they got below 50. Okay, so our logical test is going to be this particular student, whether they got above 50. Okay, how do you express that? You have to express that using what? Logical operations such as greater than, less than, equal to, you know. That is how you express them. So we are going to use the cell reference. The cell reference for Mary, where the comment for Mary Mwanza is supposed to go. So we are going to say F3 greater than or equal to what? 50. Because our logical test is whether she got above 50 or below 50. So we are going to say F3 greater than or equal to 50. So much that not only those who got above 50, so that you can start on 51, no. Even 50 is included, no wonder there is equal to. So it's greater than or equal to 50. So I'm just going to type that. I'm going to say F3, okay. Yes, sorry for that. F3 All right. So that is our logical test. That is the condition that we need to be to test. Basically, that's the condition that we need to test. So if it is satisfied, value if true. That is what if it is satisfied. So what value should Excel give us if that condition is satisfied? Do you understand? What did we say the value should be if this condition is satisfied?
About 50.
It should give us what? If someone got above 50, what value should Excel give us? Or what should Excel tell us?
Equal or greater than 50.
If F3 is greater than or equal to 50, if this is true, then what?
Is it supposed to be passed?
Yes, it is pass. We say that if someone got above 50, we are going to say they have passed. If they got below 50, we are going to say they have failed. So our logical test is F3, which is what? The in fact, no, it's not supposed to be F3. We are using the total marks, right? We are using the total marks, and the total marks are not in F. They are in E. So it's supposed to be E3 and not F3. But the idea is the same. Okay, our condition is E3 greater than equal to 50. If this condition is satisfied, the student has passed. Okay. So I'm going to say pass here. And then if the student, this condition is not satisfied, it's fail, right? Yes, it is fail. So I'm just going to type fail in here. Like that. Okay. So these are what? These are our values. These are our function arguments. The logical test is E3 greater than or equal to 50. Value if true, pass. Value if false, fail. Okay. So I'm just going to click OK. When I click OK, we can check in F3. We should be able to see the results for the first student, who is Mary Mwanza. Did Mary Mwanza pass or fail?
Yes.
Yeah, so Mary Mwanza passed according to the comments that we have gotten. So now we are going to autofill this formula to the rest of the students so that we can get their comment. So I'm just gonna hold, drag, and then let it go. And now we have we now know how many students passed and how many students failed. We have 2 students who passed and 2 students who failed. Any questions so far? Is it clear?
Yes, but we need the recording.
Okay. There was another. Anything else?
I'm also talking about the recording.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's time up now. So we are going to end here. I'm going to send the recording. We are going to continue looking at the if function next time when we meet. Okay. We are going to give other values if true and false. And then we are going to look at the nested if function where you have a lot of conditions inside it. Okay. Inside one if function. So we end here. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.